All right. First and foremost, just want to wish everybody happy holidays, happy New Year as we approach the new year and holiday season. It's a pretty exciting time of year. It's one of my favorite times of year, just with bowl prep and the holiday season. And, it's a celebration of the 25 season, which you get to celebrate those seniors and everything they've given to this program and really start building towards 2026. So every bowl game we've ever been associated with, that's the approach we've taken to be 1-0 and continue to prepare. Proud of our players, their preparation so far. It's been great. Had a really good practice today. So, but happy holidays to everybody, and open up for questions.
Is there anything in particular you're emphasizing when it comes to bowl practices, things you're particularly hoping to get better at?
Yeah, I mean, every bowl prep is a little bit different. We always talk about bringing the floor up, and that's not like bringing the bottom players up. It's just about raising the floor of your program. It's about taking a lot of the young players and developing them, especially the first week. As we normally do. Every practice is different, Andy, but that first week is all about the young players, developing those young players, maybe guys that didn't get a ton of reps during the season, guys that are the future of the program, raise that floor up. The second week is a little bit more Minnesota versus Minnesota. We've always had that type of approach, just to be able to get playing football again after a few weeks off since Wisconsin. Guys have had a little bit of a break, too, where they've been able to go home throughout that preparation. And then this week's all about the game plan. It's all about New Mexico, and I think we have a really good jump on them. They're a really good football team, play incredibly hard, very disciplined on all three phases. They're very well coached, play incredibly hard, and they've had a really special season. So, but the game plan through this week, and then we head off to the bowl site, and then we have a normal week of preparation like we would in a game week when we get to the bowl site.
PJ, you're 6-0 bowls here. Is there anything you feel that you instill in the team to, keep them, really interested in winning that type of game?
Yeah, I mean, I think our players take the bowl game very, very seriously, and they love football. They want to play football. We take a lot of pride in developing that type of mindset here at the University of Minnesota, and I think I just respect the game wholeheartedly, and you want to coach players who really respect the game. And I think our guys definitely have shown that they've done a very good job of that over our course of our 9 years being here. I think bowl games are what makes college football different from anything else. Whether it's a college football playoff or whether it's, our other bowl games. I think that's what makes college football college football. I'm a huge advocate of bowl games. I think it's, not everybody's going to get into the CFP, but it's a great opportunity for people to celebrate their season and then also get a lot of practices and start helping build 2026. But our mentality, Randy, is a 1-0 mentality. That's the way it's always been. We don't talk about where we were or where it's going to be. We talk about where we are and what we have to do to find a way to be 1-0 against a really good opponent.
You and Garrett have spent the last month negotiating with your own players. What are the biggest things you've learned throughout this entire process?
I don't think anything in elementary education taught you how to negotiate contracts, in college. Even as you look at the past of you being a head football coach and everything you've gained experience on, and then you get into this new world of college athletics. And unless you're a head coach that just backs away and says, listen, I'm just going to coach football. I'm just going to do that. Well, the game's changed so much that you have to be such in line with your chief of staff, GM, director of player personnel. You have to be so in line with them, and you have to talk more than you ever have and have meetings more than you've ever had. It's just a new era of college athletics, and we've embraced it. I think Garrett Chernoff and his staff do an amazing job. Our retention rate as of right now is really, really high, and everybody does it on their own time frame. That's one thing I've learned is, everybody's got representation, and everybody has their own view of not necessarily just what they're worth, but what they want to be able to get out of that and what they value, and you respect that. I mean, I said this before, that there's an education piece to our life program and the football program and the things we do off the field, but there's another piece of the education of going through real life business talks with your players. And having those conversations, because I told you this before, a player came in and said, it's business. I said, it's not business. It's not business here. I said, there's a piece of business, and that's why we're talking. We're going to talk to all your representation, but I'm never going to stop talking to the kid. And I'm not going to stop talking to the parent. And I'm not going to stop living that life program that we have. And I've learned that you can do it all. It just takes a lot more work if you want to connect all those dots. And you don't want it just to be transactional, which if you want it to be transformational with transactions in it, it's just going to take a lot more work, a lot more time, a lot more dedication from the people around you. And that's why I'm just so grateful as a head coach to surround myself with just incredible winners, from players to staff members to Garrett to Marcus, their whole staff. I mean, you're only as good as the people you put yourself around, and we have some exceptional people here.
When it comes to attention. Obviously, Anthony Smith left it open of what he was going to do in the future.
Yeah, let me know what he tells you. Let me know if you have any insight. Now, listen. Like I was telling Ryan, that everybody's on their own time frame, and I think as a head coach, my personality is all about like, okay, what are we doing now? What are we doing next? All right, how can we get that done and move on? Right, and I've had to be able to almost slow down a little bit more. You listen to what your players are saying. Listen to what their agents are saying. You're giving them the time to make these really big decisions and some space, which I think I've had to even evolve as a head football coach to keep adapting to the times, not changing who I am, but adapting to the new times of college football, and that's a great example of it. So whatever he does, we're going to support 100%. Just like guys who have left. Guys that'll stay, we'll support them 100%. Guys have all different types of reasons why they stay and go, and I'm never going to be the reason to wedge in between that. These young people are learning how to be grown-ups really fast, but also grown-up decisions have grown-up consequences. You have the choice of the decision, you don't have the choice of the consequence. And I mean that in a good way and a hard way. And sometimes the only way you have to learn, whether it's a really good decision or a really hard decision to learn from, is you got to make them yourself. And we can do everything we can to help educate them as well as their circle, and we're here to support them. So any decision he decides to make, we'll support him 100%, because all decisions he makes are going to be good decisions. He doesn't have a bad decision in his decision-making process right now.
Has Lemecki Brockington indicated if he'll be playing the ball game?
We have a lot of players that are practicing with us and are around with us. Some are not. Some will play. Some won't play, Randy.
Do players ever come to you, PJ, at this day and age and just say, Coach, I outperformed my allotted salary. What are you going to do about it? Do they not go to you? How does that work? What's the chain?
Yeah, it's a great question, Mike. I think that, everybody has representation now, right? So I think they have representation to put them in the best position. They're hiring them to put them in the best position, and then give them as much money as they possibly can, or get them as much money as they possibly can. But I said earlier, I talked about the value system. Like, what do you really value? Is it just the highest dollar? Is it the right position for your future? Is this an environment that you value versus extra dollars? Are we the highest bidder? Maybe we are. But I think it's all got to fit together. It's all got to come together. It's the best example I give, and you've covered the Vikings forever, right? And it's the roles we're in is like you're the head coach, you're the president, you're the owner, you're the GM, you're the director of player personnel, right? And you've almost got to be a negotiator as well of what you have in your budget. And you're doing that without the systems that the NFL has in place.
You got no salary cap, or you can't, you can kind of figure out what guys are getting offered. I don't know how you do it here.
Well, sometimes those offers are real, and sometimes those offers aren't real. And you have to, I think there's a book called The Art of Making a Deal. There's got to be deals you walk away from. Ryan asked me earlier, this is weeks ago, he's like, it's just going to be interesting to see how you go through and make the decisions you make. And some decisions, it's not just a guy wanted to leave or had to leave, but both parties were couldn't come to an agreement. You had to walk away. And that's part of deal making, and not just getting the deal done, but being willing on both sides to walk away from the deal and say, this is just not going to work. But there's a lot of things that the NFL has in place that we don't have in place just yet at all, that they function at a really high level for a reason, and college football does not have any of that right now. So it is a very unique environment to work in. I truly believe this. I'm not sure if anybody wants this, but you put a camera on somebody's shoulder and you do a reality TV show of what's going on right now, and Garrett's going back here like this. But I don't think the general public actually truly knows what college football truly looks like when you peel back the onion. However, as somebody who's in charge of a college football program, you still have a choice of how you run the program. And that's the whole part of adapting but not changing who you are. We have really, really good people in this organization. We have really good kids, and we want what's best for them too. And I think when you have people that want what's best for each other, you can come to an agreement somehow, some way. At the end of the day, it's about people. And if they really want to be here, we'll find a way to get them here in a reasonable way.
New Mexico has an active defense that really mixes things up in the back end. What's caught your eye about their defense when you've looked into it?
Yeah, they play a lot of cover three, but they do a really good job of creating havoc with their front seven, whether it's stunts. They're really detailed in how they do it and where their hand placement is. They're really aggressive. They play downhill. They're good tacklers. They fly to the football. they've had a really special year, and you can see why they had a special year. They won some really close games. They blew out UCLA at the Rose Bowl. I mean, this team has played at an incredibly high level all year. So well coached, very disciplined. They play as one on defense. They all know how the back end affects the front affects the back end, and they play that way.
Speaking of evolving, well, you got an assistant coach opening. Historically, you've waited to AFCA. AFCA's January 12th, fish portal opens the 2nd. Do you have kind of a timeline for evolving how you want to view assistant hires this year?
Yeah, I mean, you have a vision, but you really take day by day. You do, especially this time, because there's so much going on. You kind of put some of those things, not necessarily on the back burner, because you're working on it as you work on the portal, as you work on your players, as you work on bowl prep, as you work on the negotiations and the contracts with your players. And, oh, yeah, their free agency is right around the corner. So it's a unique time. And then we go out recruiting as well in January. So you put that on top of the portal, and then the official visits on top of that as well. As you can see, Mike, this is what I mean. It's very unique. But we'll have a plan of how we keep moving forward with coaches.
PJ, how do you look at kind of the future of bowl games? Obviously, that's a hot topic with teams turning them down, and kind of you guys have put an emphasis on it.
Yeah, I think everybody has their own views on bowl games. I think every program will. I think every circumstance is completely different. We love bowl games. I love playing in bowl games. I grew up watching bowl games. I was part of a team that went 10-2 at Northern Illinois and didn't go to a bowl game. It's amazing how fast that has changed, right? And that was back in 2000 and I have no idea, four, something like that. You think about how fast in 20 years that has changed, where a 10-2 team didn't go to a bowl game. And now here we are, and people say, we have so many bowl games. It's all about the student-athlete experience. And part of that is when we talk about the negotiations and contracts and business and agents, and that's part of the experience. It's a new part of the experience. That's what you have to adapt to. So, I love bowl games. We've always have here at the University of Minnesota. I think it gives you extra time to be able to work on your team for the future, celebration of our seniors in 25. I'm not in charge of what happens to bowl games as they go forward, but I think everybody sees like trajectory of how that could be. But what does it look like? And I think there's a lot of people who have to answer a lot of questions that make it really good for college football, because saying that, bowl games are dead and taking bowl games away, I don't think is very healthy. I don't. I'm a huge advocate of bowl games. So how we structure them from here on out and what that looks like and what conferences team up to do it, I think could be really interesting as we move forward.
Why is it important?
And a lot of fun. Fun. How about fun? Anybody hear that word, fun? Fun? It's a great time. Fun. Like, football's still fun. Don't forget it.
And going out as early as you can as well.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really thankful that our administration is allowing us to go out on the 21st, and they've always allowed us to be able to do that if the bowl game was allowing us to do that as well. And it's a great partnership with the Rate Bowl. Mark Coyle knows a lot of those people out in Arizona and has for a very long time. It's a really good relationship and healthy relationship, and we're able. Our administration allows us to go out 2 days early because that travel day is technically a Monday, which our players would have off anyway. So it allows us to stay in that game day rhythm, and that really benefits our players as we move forward. I think last year we had to switch it up just a little bit, where Monday was technically a Tuesday, and then their day off was technically a Wednesday. But we were able to get it done. But I'm just thankful our administration allows us to go out there a little bit early, so our players can adjust to the travel and the experience of bowl prep.
How does the roster building strategy change now that you don't have the second portal window? You just got the one right away.
Well, I'm a huge advocate of the one portal system, or the one portal window. I think that we've done a really good job. Garrett Chernoff, his staff, done a really good job of doing everything we can to retain as many players as possible, early as possible. And, you've had a lot of talks, spent a lot of time over the last 2.5 weeks of doing that. And that takes a lot of time and effort and dedication to people, and a lot of long hours, and talking to agents and players of what they're truly looking for, and negotiating and finding a good balance to that. And as we keep working, that allows you to be able to focus on your bowl game for the most part and football, and then get ready for the portal and have a really good understanding of what that's going to look like. But we're also recruiting during that time as well. So how we use our resources is going to be where I think every staff has their creative mind. Who you send down the road, how many do you send on the road, where do you send them? You have visits coming up to be able to host those portal players as well. So it's all about how do you prioritize all of it, and where are you putting all your resources. So sometimes you have to spread those out to make it all work, and we'll have a great formula for it.
PJ, while there's all this uncertainty, you do know your quarterback's coming back, so there's that. What do you kind of look to as kind of the big picture of what he did this season and how you look at 26?
Yeah, I think what he did is pretty remarkable. I think when you are talking about a young quarterback, rookie quarterback, freshman quarterbacks, inexperienced quarterbacks, there is a process. And I said this at the beginning of the year. I said you can't skip steps. And I'm really proud of our offensive staff. I'm really proud of Drake. We didn't skip steps. There's things that we have to go through. Remember, we lost 9 NFL players on rosters last year. 9 NFL players from last year's football team are now on rosters right now, playing in the NFL. And a lot of teams, when you lose 9, if you're not maybe one of the top 2 teams in the country, you have a major dip and a fall off. But when you look at where we're at, I mean, again, I know we have really high expectations. We're always going to have that. But there's going to be, every year is going to create its own version of what success is. But I think when you look on that side of the ball and you look at what Drake was able to do to respond to the games he didn't play well in and come back with a great game, or play great in a game and put 2 on top of each other, or just how his leadership has grown, his decisive decision-making, the understanding of the offense. We never held back. I mean, this is like drinking out of a fire hose from our shifts and motions and play calls and huddle and leadership. And you got 1 year to watch Max, and then bang, you're thrown into it. And I'm just really proud of his progress. I think it speaks to the culture. I think he put out a really amazing statement that I think speaks volumes about the type of program we have here, about development. If you're going to be a developmental program, your players better feel like they're being developed. And I think that was a pretty powerful statement from our quarterback. And, every year is going to be its own entity. You're always going to handle it that way. These guys are technically on 1-year contracts when you kind of look at it, with free agency every single year if you compare it to the NFL. So you want to make sure that the experience is everything. And I think Drake has had an elite experience to start his freshman year. But just because you've done something 1 year doesn't promise you the next. He's going to have to earn everything he gets to take that next step. And the jump between where the bottom was and that first step is usually the biggest jump. And now those jumps get smaller. And I think that's where he's going to have to work extra hard. You got to even work harder to make the next step, and the step is even smaller. So that's going to be really fun for our offensive staff and him to be able to create it to where it's his team. And I think that's going to be a lot of fun to build.
PJ, is there any particular position group that where this bowl prep and the bowl game is maybe some extra importance to?
I don't want to sound generic, but it's true, but all of them. I think anytime that we have young players at every single position, Randy. So I think anytime you can get those guys involved, especially that first week where it's Minnesota versus Minnesota, you're resting a lot of guys who have played, who are banged up, beat up. Some guys had, minor things here and there. Some guys had some significant things. So getting those guys healed up and letting those guys go out there and play football, it's really, really exciting. We didn't play as much Sunday night football as we usually do this year, just because a lot of those young guys were helping us. And as you kind of go through the year, especially as they're going to cut this roster down, the NFL has the ability to just take people, as people get hurt, just put them on IR and bring in another player. It's going to be really difficult if we're not able to do that with just 105 starting on August 1st, and then you go all the way through bowl games. You can imagine how small rosters are going to be, and if you do get a case of the injury bug, how hard that's going to be to manage. So we've kind of already started that type of process to get our players used to that. But that's what the playing the young guys has really helped us kind of bring that floor up.
Final one for Coach.
What's your view on New Mexico's offense?
They throw a lot at you in the run game. They keep you really honest with an RPO system, a run game system with the quarterback. They don't ever really let you get tendencies and get a beat on it. They do a really good job of smoke and mirroring a lot of different things where it could be the same type of concept, but they're doing it a lot of different ways. They love to run the football, but they're very capable throwers that can throw and catch and make plays on the outside. But they've moved the ball on every single team they've played, and they're constantly in flow and rhythm. They have a good vibe on offense. You can feel it. Really good play caller. So I mean, it's a really difficult offense to stop. And I think when you look at it from what they've been able to do, I mean, that's the proof's in their record and the proof's in the people they played. Thanks, everybody. Happy holidays. Row the boat, Sky Mile, go Gophers.